Hello. And have you ever said yes to something even though you knew that it wasn't really the right thing for you? Maybe it was helping someone when you were already exhausted and keeping quiet just to avoid conflict. You're not alone, especially for those of us healing after a traumatic brain injury. We often become people pleasers without realizing it, craving peace and approval and connection, even if it costs us our well being. But here's the truth: peace that requires you to abandon yourself isn't peace at all. I'm Janet Shane, and I am a traumatic brain injury survivor of 30 plus years and a life coach and a transformation coach and a wife and a mother. And I am sharing with you the things that I have learned about boundaries. And especially with the holiday season coming up ahead, I will also be attaching a clarity journal to help you to get clear on what it is that you would like to experience this holiday season. And it's just some simple questions to guide you. And if you like what you've seen today, please hit that subscribe button at the end. And so you'll always be alerted when I have a new video. Today, we're talking about how to set boundaries without guilt, especially during the season like the holidays, when emotions and expectations run high, because boundaries are not walls, they're bridges that protect you and your peace and honor your worth and help you to rebuild your confidence after a traumatic brain injury. In this episode, I'm going to walk you through what boundaries really are, why they're essential for your recovery, and how to know when a boundary is missing, and simple steps to set them clearly and lovingly, even with the people closest to you. And stay with me until the very end. I will share that clarity journal with you. Oh, boundaries are the invisible lines that define what's acceptable and what's not in your life. They help you to know where you are and where someone else begins. Boundaries are like personal guide rails, is what a coach had told me, that keep you safe, and they are respected and balanced in your relationships and your endeavors in life. In a world filled with constant demands and expectations, healthy boundaries aren't selfish, they're sacred. They keep your nervous system regulated, your energy focused, and your heart open without being drained. Personal boundaries are unique for everyone. They're your framework for self respect. Let's look at the main types of boundaries you might need to strengthen right now. Physical boundaries define your comfort with space, touch, and proximity. They might sound like, I need a few minutes alone before we talk, or please don't hug me without asking, or I need you to give me a little bit of space so I can have time to think, please. Emotional boundaries protect your feelings and your inner peace and your capacity for empathy. They might look like, I'm not in a space to talk about that right now. I am experiencing resistance and I need to stop. We need to stop right now. And we can pick this up after you give me some time to just breathe and center myself. Mental boundaries involve your thoughts, your opinions, and your beliefs. You can respect someone else's view without abandoning your own. I don't know about you, but I used to abandon mine. I believed in everything and everyone else except myself. I didn't give myself the respect that I deserved. Time boundaries Define how you use your time and energy. You might say, I'm not available this afternoon, but tomorrow works better. When you define those clearly, you teach people how to love you and respect you. After a brain injury, you often feel like your identity has shifted. You want to feel useful again. You want to be seen and capable, loving and dependable. So you overgive, you overpromise, and you overextend, hoping to prove that you're worthy. But your boundaries are not a sign of weakness. They are signs of self awareness and maturity. They say, I respect myself enough to know my limits. When you start honoring those limits, your brain feels safer and your energy stabilizes, and you begin healing from a place of strength and not survival. Some people think boundaries push others away, but the truth is they draw the right people closer to you. Healthy boundaries actually strengthen relationships. They replace resentment with honesty, burnout with balance, and confusion with clarity. Boundaries are not about control, they're about clarity. When people know what you expect and how you communicate, trust will grow. You might need stronger boundaries if you often feel drained after spending time with certain people. Or I have noticed when I overgive, when I'm having communication with people, I'll walk away and my energy will be zapped. And I'm like, oh, I overgave again. It's all a learning curve. It's not right and it's not wrong. It's not good and it's not bad. It just is what it is. And so spending time with certain people may be overwhelming by obligations. You feel guilty for resting instead of spending time with them, or resentful towards those who keep asking for more and more from you. Those emotions aren't proof that you're failing. They're messages from your spirit saying something needs to change. Boundaries are how you answer that call from your spirit. Let's talk about what it looks like to start setting boundaries. Step one is self awareness. Begin by asking yourself, what drains me? What restores me? What am I tolerating that doesn't align with who I want to become? Awareness is always, 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 always the first step. Step two is to communicate calmly. When you're ready, share your needs clearly and kindly. For example, I value our friendship, but I need time to rest in the evenings. Keep it simple. No long explanations. My husband says all the time, just keep it simple. Step three is to expect discomfort. Boundaries will feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you've spent decades or years overgiving. But discomfort is not danger, it's growth. You're rewiring your brain to believe you're worth protecting. And step four is for enforce consistently. Boundaries mean very little if you don't hold up to them. When someone crosses that line, gently remind them and yourself. If it continues, step back. Consistency builds credibility both for others and for yourself. Boundaries are a natural extension of self love. They say, I love myself enough to protect my space and my peace. When you love yourself and you stop seeing the boundaries as barriers and start seeing them as blessings, you realize you don't owe anyone your time or your emotional labor. And from that space, you can begin creating from an overflow instead of emptiness or lack. Here are a few simple boundary examples you might try this week. If your family conversations turn negative, say, I'm not available for this kind of talk right now. If a friend keeps calling during your work time and says, I'll call you back after my focus time, I want to give you my full attention. If someone pressures you to attend an event and says, thank you, just say thank you for inviting me, but honoring my need for rest this weekend is a little more important for me and who I am. Each of those statements honors your well being without apology. When we create boundaries, we're aligning with God's design for our balance. Even Jesus took time away from the crowds to rest and pray. He modeled that serving others doesn't mean sacrificing your soul. Your peace is not a luxury, it's a divine responsibility. When you begin honoring your boundaries, you become a light for others, your children, a spouse, friends, community, your church community. Begin learning from your example. They start realizing it's okay to rest. It's okay to say no. It's okay to choose peace. It really is. And that ripple creates a culture of respect, one that starts with you. I'd love for you to take a quiet moment after this video and write down 3 reflections. Where in your life do you feel the most drained? What would peace look like in that area? And what small step can you start taking this week to protect your peace? This practice trains your brain to recognize when you're out of alignment and guide you back to balance. Boundaries are the foundation of becoming who you were meant to be. They help you to stop reacting to life and start creating it. Setting boundaries is not rejection, it's redirection towards peace, purpose, and presence. So as you go into the rest of your week, remember this affirmation. My peace is my priority. My boundaries are acts of love. And I am safe to honor both. If this message spoke to your heart, I'd love to give you something special. Download that clarity journal in the description here, and I invite you to go to my website and schedule a time for us to connect and maybe have hot chocolate or coffee together. And breathe deeply and make a decision from peace, not guilt. You can find the link below in the description, because when you pause and you listen to your inner wisdom, you always know what's right for you. I'm Janet Shane. I'm a certified life and mindset coach, and this is part 1 of our boundary series. In the next episode, we'll talk about why being too nice can quietly sabotage your healing, and how to move from people pleasing to peaceful power. Until then, stay kind, stay grounded, and remember, you are worthy of peace, love, and respect.